Hey everybody, welcome to John Wayne Lied to You, the storytelling podcast featuring me, John Wayne, the one you know, who is the person who is responsible for doing this podcast, and that's who you're hearing. Welcome, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for coming back. If you've been listening, I truly, truly appreciate it. Don't forget to tell your friends to check us out on iTunes and YouTube. John Wayne is dead. It's good, but all that stuff aside, it's a pretty good day so far. It's just a little different approach today. I am in the Library of Evil here at Wayne Manor. I do have a nice pipe of Grandpappy's medicine. But it's AM. It's morning time. I'm doing this morning zoo radio style, and I'm drinking a nice little cup of coffee here just to. Yeah. That is a special blend from a little known roaster named Community Coffee. That's right, very exclusive. I believe it's up to $4 a pound now, or 2 for $4 maybe at your local Kroger. Anyway, I'm drinking some coffee and having a little pipe smoke and sitting here thinking about everything going on, and still the one exciting great thing, number one A, is that my new book from Grindhouse Press, Death Packs and Left Hand Paths, is for pre-order. You got 2 more weeks about to get it. You can hear my dog Cerberus in the background is very excited. He's going to pre-order. Pre-order the Kindle version. That's what's out there right now on Amazon. I'm really trying to make a hard push for this one. I'm very excited about this book. It's really cool. The artwork, as I talked about last week for the cover, done by Nick Gucker, aka Nick the Hat, on Instagram. Check his stuff out. It's just exciting. I'm very stoked about this book. So I've got a new video out on the YouTube channel that my buddy Nick P shot for me. I talked about it last week, I think. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. It's a really cool little floating head thing that we got going on there. Maybe some little hidden Easter eggs if you watch it in slow-mo or pause at certain points. Who knows? You should just definitely check it out. It's on my YouTube channel, which is just John Wayne is Dead, all one word. But yeah, so that's going good. Check it out. Then the book comes out October 3rd. You can start ordering the paperback copies then. I am going to be doing a deal. I'll be doing signed copies. I'll send them directly from Wayne Manor to your house, personalized, and I always throw in some goodies. Now, you know your Uncle Johnny, he throws the goodies in. So that is going to be worth ordering as well, or checking out, getting your book copy that way. When it comes out, I'll post about that. In the meantime, enough about me. Well, actually, not enough about me. This whole podcast is pretty much about me. So more about me. As I mentioned earlier about the video that we shot for this book is with my buddy Nick P, a.k.a. Nick Poncio, the man with Shot and Chop Digital Media. And look, as you could hear, Cerberus is very excited about Nick P. Nick P's a very good friend of mine. I love him to death. We've been friends for over 20 years. We've been involved in many endeavors in the past, artistically, including in the old podcast that I've brought up before, Never Buy a Stripper a Drink. It was called. Plus, he did a lot of filming and photos and videos and stuff for the bands that I was in, and a thing we had called Omega Profit back in the day. All kinds of stuff. We worked the software store together. Jesus Christ. We've known each other. We've been to strip clubs. We are familiar in the biblical sense, depending on which Bible you're reading. And so this week I've decided to tell a story about Nick P. And one thing that he has always given to me throughout our years of friendship is what I've decided to title this story. So here we go. This week I present to you Nick P. and his sage advice. You know, I think one of the reasons Nick P and I have been good friends and always gotten along so so swimmingly, if you will, is that from the beginning we've really clicked and connected on a sense of humor, type of personality similarity that I guess we share within each other, um, but also have the ability to tag on to each other in such a way that uh, it makes all the ideas that we come up with together just that much better, um, when we're working together, I feel. So that's one thing, but that aside, this guy is a crazy ass motherfucker who thinks in bizarre ways, such as myself, which is another reason we get along so well. And we come up with crazy scenarios that play out, and we've made so many goofy videos together in all the time that we've known each other. Excuse me. Maybe I could post some links, if I can, but just search them out. We did a commercial for Fighting Cock whiskey, which we just thought was like the best thing ever, uh, years ago, just because it was called Fighting Cock, and that's just as mature, as our brains are, I guess. So had a rooster on the bottle and everything. It's crazy. Tasted like shit, like absolute shit. But man, we bought the fuck out of it just so we could have it like around and say like, oh, I brought the fighting cock. It's just fucking. Like, that's like this. See, these are the kind of things that happen when you're hanging out with Nick P. And Nick P also had another wonderful quality about him where he would give you like really great advice, but then you never knew whether you should take it at first because he's the kind of guy that would say like, you know, hey man, a fool and his money are soon parted, and then he turns away from you to the sidewalk where a guy's like, magic beans, $4,000, and he's like, I'll take three, like that. Or he'll say like, watch your step here, and then he turns around and walks through a plate glass window in front of a moving truck and with a mirror and under a ladder, and a building explodes. Like that's, I wish, I mean, it's a mild exaggeration, but if you know Nick P, not really. So you never know. You're like, I don't know if I should take this guy's advice. But if you stick with him and you go through, many of these advice offerings that he gives you, you come to find out that regardless of his walking through a window or buying magic beans, he's actually giving you some really good advice that you should listen to because it will only enhance and improve your life throughout the years. Um, so I kind of already knew this about Nick P, but sometimes you just want to like you just feel like you need to poke the bear. Does that make sense? Or you want to like you just rebel against what you should do. You're like, nah, I'm not. You know what, buddy? Not this time. Okay. I might not, walk through the window that you walked through last time, but this time maybe I will. I don't know. I'm not taking your advice. Uh, and that's kind of where we're at in this story where it begins is Nick P and I were hanging out a few years ago. This is back at my old house. We're back in the mansion that I've talked about before, my secret masturbation den, my studio, place that I had, and we were hanging out back there, um, drinking beer, smoking, and we were pre-partying because we were gonna go to not pre-partying. We were just hanging out drinking beers before we went out. Basically, I don't want it to sound like we were like wearing party hats and fucking waxing our dicks. We were just sitting around drinking beer. But we were going to see one of my favorite Houston bands, local Houston bands called Skeleton Dick, an awesome punk rock band here. You should check them out. But they were playing at a place here in Houston called Fitzgerald's in the Heights, which is a classic, venue with a lot of history. But like I don't know, maybe like a year ago there was like some weird fucking racist remarks made by the owner, and I don't know how anybody really feels about Fitzgerald's anymore. But um, regardless, this is pre statement of that made. So we're going to see our friends in Skeleton Dick. We have a couple, couple brews, couple laughs. Uh, we're all ready, and I hop into Nick's car. He's gonna drive, and we're ready to go. And he's backing out of the driveway, and I feel this like everyone's familiar with this. I know you are. The gurgle, the stomach little gurgle, where you're like, that might not be good in a minute. Like it's like the foreshadowing. But sometimes you could play it off and it's cool. Like sometimes you're like, nah, I got this. But you never know. And at this point, I got the little gurgle, and I was like, oh, I even made a noise, and Nick says, "What's up?" And I was like, oh man, I think I have to take a shit. And Nick like puts the car, stops the car, puts it back, and drives back up the driveway, and he says, "Go get out, go take a shit." And I was like, nah, man, I'm good. We're already in the car. I'll be fine. And he was like, no, man, go take a shit. I'm telling you, if you don't, you're going to be thinking about it all night. Go take a shit. And I was like, hold on. Who do you think you are, buddy? No, fuck you. No, I'm not taking a shit. Let's fucking go. We're in the car. Let's go. And he was like, all right, but I warned you. So we head off to Fitzgerald's, and it's not really even that far from my house or anything. Few minutes, maybe like 10, 12 minutes to get there, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the gurgle represented itself to me about halfway through, in a point where I was like, I nope, but I didn't say anything. I didn't make a face. I didn't make a noise. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna even give Nick any satisfaction in this. I got this. I got this. Okay. I am the captain of this ship. I decide when I shit. All right? Not the other way around. This is how I'm doing it. And I was staunch in that belief, my friends. I was staunch in that belief. So, I get the gurgle. I don't show any signs. I'm like, nah, fuck it. I got this. We get to Fitzgerald's. We park. We walk in. And we walk in. We pay. And I'm starting to feel like I might not have this so much. I might have to start coming up with a plan. Like it's often it's not there yet, but it's looming far, off in the distance, but close enough to where I'm like thinking I might have made a mistake, in judgment. But we get there, I get a Lone Star. I think Nick got a drink. He's fancy and likes to drink like that high class stuff, like Wild Turkey with one ice cube and double turkeys, or Fighting Cock whiskey. But we do that. We go outside. We meet some friends, and we're like kind of standing in a little circle out there talking. And I'm like starting to feel like I'm losing touch with reality a little bit. And I think the reason for that is because I have become consumed entirely with the impending shit that I have to take. And I think it's at that moment when I realized that no, sir, I was not in control, as I had so vehemently told myself in my mind that I was, not minutes earlier. But like literally, we're standing there talking in a circle, and I don't know what I looked like on the outside, but I think it was just glassy-eyed, staring past everybody. But in my mind, I kind of almost stepped back, like I was sucked out of that circle of friends and back into a horrible, horrible reality where I heard nothing but buzzing in my ears, and I started to sweat, but at the same time, I had the most amount of goosebumps I've ever had in my life start to like prick up on my arms, and then like I felt it up my neck, and and then there's just flop sweat coming down, like, oh God, what have I done? What have I done? And I remember like I'm holding this beer. Like, I can't even take a sip because I'm afraid that if I put anything else into my body, like, I've reached some kind of balance where I can kind of hold it off right now, but there's a really quickly approaching a tipping point where, like, it's gonna go one or the other way, and either way is not gonna be good, or both. But I felt like if I took another sip of beer, it would throw that balance off, and then it would just like everything would happen in that moment. So I'm like holding this full fucking beer, sweating. I have bumps all over, pimples, whatever the fuck. Trying. I'm now reaching a point where I'm feeling like I need to squeeze my ass a little bit more tightly because I don't know if I can trust like the initial first round of defense in this situation of my sphincter. I feel like, maybe those muscles might be like, we can't take any more, Captain, and they just let go. But I'm gonna need this secondary like squeeze. I feel like any minute, so I'm just kind of prepping those muscles and readying them. So then I finally just kind of like come back into myself, and I'm like, all right, I gotta figure this shit out. I just kind of excuse myself from the circle. I'll be right back. So I walk inside. There's a trash can right by the door inside. I like throw my full beer in that trash can. I'm like, I can't even think about that right now. Now, like I said, Fitzgerald's is an old place. It's been over 30 years. It's been where it's been. It's an old house, and they've made, I mean, sure, countless renovations here and there and all this kind of stuff, but it's still like a dirty, dirty punk rock bar. And there's one men's room and one women's room downstairs, and where we were, and I was like, okay, I remember there being one stall in there. I'm just gonna have to go in and just like we're gonna have to make an evacuation and see at least like a one shove, push shove, whatever. See if that gets clears the pipes enough for me to get my control back, my balance, if you will. But I was gonna have to do it because otherwise, bad things were going to happen. I go into the bathroom. First of all, there are there's two urinals on the wall, no divider, and I mean it's a filthy mess of like writing and shit everywhere. But one of those urinals is out of order and has like a garbage bag tied around it, so you can't use that. One urinal there. There's like four people in front of me waiting in line, and there is like a stall at the end, if you want to call it that. It's more just like it was like a toilet with like half of a wall in front of it, kind of, and there's no door. And I kind of like look past everyone and walk down to see like why that wasn't being used. And it was because it had no seat. It was filled to the top with just diarrhea and floating beer cans and like piss all over the place. Like like somebody had the same issue as me and just beat me to it or something, like, but 4 days ago, and it's still sitting there. It is just this disgusting mess. And I was like, well, I would rather just shit my pants in front of everybody than deal with this. So I kind of just crept back out of the bathroom and just fucking said that's a lost cause. Now, I'm standing in Fitzgerald's, in the kind of room the band's setting up and shit, and I'm starting to go to a bad place in my head where I'm like, I wonder how long I can lean in the corner and shit into this trash can till somebody notices me and says something, or do you think I could get away with it? And then just when everyone starts smelling it, play along like, what is that? Who would do that? But there's not enough cover darkness. We didn't have it. Shouts out Robbie C. Anyway, so I leave the club. Like I didn't drive. Remember, I'm not leaving. Like, well, at the time I didn't know if I was leaving to never come back. But I walk outside and I'm pacing up and down the club in front, and I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Because like, I don't, at this point in my life, I don't necessarily like shitting in public. I like to have my own solace and privacy and just I don't know, comfort of my own facilities, which most of us do, of course. Why wouldn't we? But I had to to break out of my comfort zone here and figure out what I was gonna do. And the closest thing I could think of was I just start walking down the street, right? Until I come to like this bar restaurant place called Onion Creek. That one's the one that's there, right? Yeah, Onion Creek, whatever. Who fucking cares? And I just like my feet aren't letting me not go in there at that point. So I like again, no control, right? Do they just walk me right in to the men's room, and this is a much nicer, more civilized bathroom. You know, there's a full stall for your convenience, and a urinal, and walls, and toilet paper, and running water. All the things are there. So I get in there, and I just unleash the beast, and and it was good. But I felt like in that moment, you know, there was a lot of just lessons that were being learned in my mind and ingrained. One of them being, you know, hey, it's not so bad to shit out of your comfort zone, especially when you don't have a choice. Why be uncomfortable when you can just let it go? You know, I feel like that's probably, is that a Frozen song or something? Let it go. You want to associate that with your shitting? I never saw it, but I understand it's a great cinema. But I also learned that Nick P is always fucking right. He's always fucking right. You have to listen to what Nick P tells you. And I'm saying this to myself, but also, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying it to you. If you know Nick P, if you run into a guy who says he's Nick P, you better fucking not take a chance and listen to him, because he's gonna tell you what you need to know, and it's gonna make sense. It might not make sense then, but it will make sense, and it'll make your life way better than it is at the moment. And I'm proof. I can attest. I am that man that Nick P has made into a better man today. Cerberus agrees, as you can hear. But no, from that moment on, and then I mean, you know, we can follow the story out. I went back to the club. I watched the show. Woohoo! Skeleton Dick was great. And on the way home, I told Nick P what happened, and he was like, "Dude, I told you." And I stopped him like, "Dude, no, I know you told me, and I will never doubt you again." And I haven't. From then on, every time I've had to shit, I don't care where I am, I go shit. I don't care if I'm in my car, I'll stop, I'll knock on a neighbor's door. I gotta shit. Let me see what you're rocking over here. But I like to think that since I've taken this advice and been under Nick P's guidance, that my life has become way better and way more comfortable, especially where bowel movements are concerned. All right, there you go. See, sometimes all you have to do is let a dear friend give you some of their sage advice, and they can change your life forever, just as this fine man Nick P has. Nick P is a great friend of mine, and we'll have more stories, I guarantee you, in which he plays quite a hand in. He's a little bit devilish at times. He's a mischief maker. He's also a magic maker. But he'll surface here and there in stories in the future as well, I'm sure. But in the meantime, you can check out his video work at Shot and Chopped Media, YouTube. Go to my YouTube, John Wayne is Dead, all one word, please, and subscribe and check out the videos that we've got going on up there. We've been doing some stuff recently that I'm excited about that will show up there very soon. But for now, you could check out my new trailer. That's a pre-order trailer for Death Packs and Left Hand Paths from Grindhouse Press. It's a pre-order for the Kindle version. Help Uncle Johnny out. Just pre-order the Kindle and then order the paperback when it comes out, so you can have the physical one in your hand. You can feel. And then, you know, like I said, I'll have signed copies that I'll be sending out direct from Wayne Manor to you. It's gonna be great. So, no, please help me out if you'd like. This is a book I'm very excited about. Comes out October 3rd. You can go to Amazon or my Amazon page, John Wayne Comunale, and find out all about it. Also, check out my other books that are available now: Ant Poster, Charge Land, The Porn Star Retirement Plan, and my creative nonfiction collection, which I'm very proud of, John Wayne Lied to You, which shares the name of this podcast. So please check that stuff out, guys. And, I'm excited moving forward here. Halloween is coming up, so we'll have probably some nice Halloweeny tales throughout October. We had just hit the first day of fall a few days ago, and it's still 90 degrees here in Houston, but it's the thought that counts, I feel. The thought that counts, yeah. So, anyway, check out that and everything else that I do over at johnwayneisdead.com, including the John Wayne is Dead band performances, which we've just had a good run of like 4 in a row, and maybe we got a couple weeks off before we do something else, I think. So check it out. Check out all that, and it'll have my readings that I've got coming up, and I'm planning a nice little release event for Death Packs and Left Hand Paths, so look for that. And keep listening to the podcast. Keep checking out the other great shows on the Mockingbird Network. And tell your friends. Subscribe and help me out. I appreciate it. This is always a good time for me, as I hope it is for you. Remember, my friends, do not ignore that sage advice from those special people in your lives.
Mockingbird Network.